Hi everyone, so today I'm going to go through the combos, the advanced combo lines for the Superheavy Samurai deck that's just come out. I did a video on it a couple of days ago where I was going through the decks, the cards, and like a basic combo. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the same basic combo just to start it off, but show you how I can get a little bit more complexity to it, a little bit more cards, and then we're going to talk about hand traps the whole time anyway. So there's a couple of different lines you can do with the absolute basic bog standard combo, and the bog standard combo just requires a soul piercer or a bike and then like a discard as well. So for the discard I'm going to use Gamma, and then for the three other cards, so for the discard I'm going to use Driver, and then for the three other cards I'm going to use Gamma. So normal summon this, then you can link it off into the link one. By the way, special shout out goes to Cameron for this one, because he sent me his spreadsheet with all his different combos on, so I'm just going to look at that as well for some of the more advanced lines. So Soul Piercer grabs the bike, because Soul Piercer can add Super Heavy Super Heavy Samurai monster from deck to the hand. Bike, then you have to use this to get the bike in grave, because this is going to help you make the Baron. Get the Wakakushi, activate this effect to move it into the zone, and then scale. I'm going to scale a Big Benki. Big Benki's effect to search, and then that lets you add we're going to add here a Soul Piercer. Then what we can do is we can use the discard this time to discard for the Scareclaw effect, and this is where we're going to use the Driver. That's going to bring back the Soul Piercer. They're going to be able to synchro into Baron. Sorry, no, not Baron. It's synchro into the XL Stardust Dragon, and then we're going to use this Chainlink 1, this Chainlink 2, and then this Chainlink 3, so this should be in the face of extra deck, and basically when this is synchroed it gets to come back to the spell and trap card zone. The Soul Piercer is then going to search us out the Spy. There it is, and then this is going to bring back the bike. Here you can make Baron. Then you can equip your Soul Piercer to this, tribute them off, special summon out your scales. There it is, scales effect, bring back the Soul Piercer. Now, there's a couple of different options here. So the one that I've showed before is where you can make this into the Union Drive straight away, but what I can do now is I'm going to show where you can make it into the Ballista. Then the Ballista can be Chainlink 1, this can be Chainlink 2. So then it's going to add the box, and then you just basically add some kind of follow-up. But this is probably a good one to add for now, because you can pendulum summon it. And then the box will trigger. And I can add the Tunneler. And then the Spy can just special summon itself. If you've got no special spells and traps, you can always special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Superheavy Samurai Spy once per turn this way. So then you link those into the Cleafort Genius. Then you pendulum summon. Then that triggers this to add one from deck to hand, which in this case is going to be the Regulus. Then you can special summon your Regulus. Then you can turn this to attack, gets effect. Then you can make an Appaloosa for 4. Then you can use the Tunneler. and draw 2. And now you're at the absolute max of what you can do with this combo line here, because you've got 6 cards in hand, 2 Omni Negates, 4 Monster Negates. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. So that's literally off a 1.5 card combo. Now the thing about this board is you can crack it, obviously. You know, like a dark ruler cracks it. Droplets will be able to crack it. If you you know, you summon anything, you can use an Appaloosa negate. You can then Kurikara over the Appaloosa, and then you can attack over this, and then you're only pulling through a Baron. So that's pretty good. But the only problem is, when you actually crack this board, the Soul Piercer gets another search, which can just add something like a bike. Obviously, you're going to get a Baron negate as well. And then anything in like that you've drew, because you've obviously got 3 cards to start with, and then you drew 2 off Tunneler, so you've got 5 cards. So you can use the Baron, you know, so you can use the Gamma, you can use the Nib, because you've got clear field now. And then going back into your turn, you have like everything on your field. You have your pendulums. You're actually going up to 8 in hand at the start of this turn. You've got a wind and an earth in your grave to go at. You know, there's infinite amount of follow up here, which is ridiculous. But what we're going to do is we're going to go back. We're going to do the standard combo line, pretty much up to the Baron that I've just done with the Soul Piercer and the 3 blanks. So I'm just going to quickly put these back and give myself the hand wide. So we're just going to get to the Soul Piercer and the 3 blanks again. So I'll just add the Gamma package. I'm going to show you some different ways you can do, some ways you can get more stuff from this combo. So same thing, you pretty much always normal summon this, go into this, get the bike, bike effect, pitch itself to grab the Wakakushi, Wakakushi effect to scale the Big Benki and summon itself, Big Benki effect to search, and off this we are going to grab, yep, the Soul Piercer. Then we're going to use this effect to discard, splash them back, Synchro, this goes there, into cell, bite comes back, effect this gets a search, grab the spy. Where is the spy? There it is. Make the Baron. Equip the Soul Piercer. Right, so now this is where it all starts. No, sorry, not just yet. Scales into this. Now this is where you can start changing the lines a little bit. So there's like quite a different, you know, you can just go straight into the same way or whatever, but you can make Gigagun X here instead of just like going straight away. So what you can do is you can overlay here, Gigagun X. You can use its effect to search. You can add box. Then you're going to get box and Soul Piercer. So the box is going to add the Tunneler. And then Soul Piercer is going to add the wagon. Then you can drop your spy. Then you can make your Cleavheart Genius. Then you can pendulum. I'll go into why this is a little bit better later on. And then this effect here lets you search for, we're going to get off this, I think we'll get, yeah, you can get the Kaiju here. I actually took the Kaiju out of this build, but let's just hypothetically say this is a Kaiju. There's just like different ways you can go with this deck. Then turn this to attack, grab another extender. Then you can overlay these two into this, and then to this, and then you can add one Therion card, so you can add Regulus, then you can link all these off into Appaloosa for 3. You get a Regulus. Then you tunnel her into your 5, tunnel her into some more cards. So you end up discarding 2 at the end, but you do get a Kaiju. So you get like an extender, a Kaiju, and then 2 more cards. So now it's a really important concept that people need to think about when playing this deck, is you've actually got to, and it's quite hard, you've actually got to work out like how much you actually want to win by sometimes, because you know this is the bog standard combo. There doesn't really do, you know, there isn't really much like that's going to change this sort of going first. It's just really difficult into hand traps. You know, it depends on how you play it, and that's where skill comes in. It's almost like Dragon Link. But what you need to do is determine actually how much like you need to win by with this deck. So, you know, you could play the Savage Dragon and you could end up with a Savage Dragon, but and on the board. But realistically, if they were going to break 4 Monster Negates to Appaloosa and 2 Omni Negates, they were going to break, you know, they were going to have the Dark Will or whatever, or they were going to have to nib you in your turn, or draw you or something like that, or Shifter maybe. But basically, you've got to work out how much you want to win by. So, like I say, if they were going to break the 2 Omni Negates and the 4 Monster Negates, well, then they were going to break 3 Omni Negates and 4 Monster Negates. So it's like you don't need to win by so much, and the cards in the deck are probably better spent on like actual utilization in other aspects of the game. So you don't need to borrow Savage them. It would be more like, you know, like different extenders to go into Appaloosa. Maybe you play like an Ossa or something like that, or different extenders to go into Access Code. You know, again, Ossa's a good one for that as well. It's just like different ways of, you know, working out what could be better utilizing that extra deck, rather than just like, you know, if you win by 1 life point, it's the same as winning by 20,000 life points. So no one knows any difference. So now I'm just going to go through a little bit of like where you could hand trap and how this could be. So if you start here and you want to hand trap them here, and Ghost Dog onto this, I would probably recommend not to, because of just cards like, you know, if you had a Gamma in your hand here and you get and if you got this effect, they go Ghost Dog. Well, now your Ghost Dog is gone and they've got a free Baron, because what you've got to remember is every time this resolves, this is a Baron. Like every time Gamma resolves, this is a Baron. So this is 1, 2, 3, and then this would be 4, and then obviously bring back the Gamma 5. So you could nib them here, which would obviously be the best thing to do, and it probably would hurt this hand if you nibbed here. But if you didn't have nib specifically, and you only had Ghost Dog and that was your only one, well, now you can make Baron, and then you can use the big Benki, and you've just played around Droll. And you played around like anything else. With this Baron, you're probably only negating the likes of Droll and big ones like Nib and Shifter, even though I think they would have shifted you already. So basically, Shifter in straight away versus this deck is probably not a good idea, and you do have to hold it. The same with Ghost Ogre, because you could just end up getting Gammaed and getting Baroned, and I do think Gamma will be in literally everyone's main deck who plays this deck. To be honest, I think Gamma will be in every main deck anyway, because it's just so good. Whereas if you have, let's say we use our Goga differently. So we'll use the Wakushi effect. You just let this slide. This summons the big Benki effect to search. Ghost Ogre it there. They've lost the scale now. So like they're going to really struggle to get that skill back. And then sort of the only play now is to go into this, and they can't even really use it because they don't have a card in grave to get. So this really limits their options. And the only other combo line I could sort of think of with, like, obviously without any other extenders, would be the effect of this, where you can discard one monster, especially them Super Heavy Samurai monsters from your deck, but then that locks them into Super Heavy Samurai. So, you know, a Ghost Ogre on that big Benki is huge. Another thing I was trying to find like a good place for Ash in this deck, but it's almost like every time you would get to Ash, it would be on the Cleafort Genius or something. And at that point, you're just trading Ash for an Omni Negate, whether the Ash hits the Baron or whether the Ash hits the Cleafort Genius, which inherently hits the regulars. You know, it's up to them. And they can always use the XYZs to get into the regulars anyway. So Ash is not super good at all against this deck. What I have found is pretty good is if we just default back to a normal combo line here. Did we open one of the starters? Yeah, we did, but I'm just going to show it. Obviously, a Ghost Ogre here on this effect would be insane, because you're not complaining. Gamma, Imperm, Ash, Imperm Vela would be good here as well. But another one that I wanted to show, to be honest, that was going to be more more impactful, would be the normal here. If they go for this very standard line and they get the bike and they use the bike, Ash on the bike here could be pretty good. Obviously, like I said, it depends on what they've got in the hand, but an Ash on the bike could be pretty good there. I'd probably be tempted to Ash that bike if I was playing Ash. But another place that could be good that I found is just so you activate this, into this, into this, into this. One thing that can sort of take the wind out of them is they got effect here, a Vela or Imperm on this. You could use a Ghost Ogre on this, but you're probably going to use the Ghost Ogre on this one instead. So yeah, Vela Imperm there is pretty good, because then they just have to go straight into this, tribute those off to go into the scales. And then the scales has to summon back. If they want to make Baron, the scales almost has to summon back. Let's just say this. And then to make Baron through the cell. And then we're only left with this now. And this is a hard one to per turn. So, you know, it's not good, because then they're just left with tributing this into this as their only play to get another surge, and the board becomes a Baron at that point, which obviously it's a Baron without the huge amount of follow-up that they get from the Tunneler. It's a Baron without the regular, it's a Baron without the Appaloosa, so that's a pretty good point. But I do think, to be honest, this is obviously assuming there's no other extenders, but I do think that if you really want to stop this deck and like stop this deck from sort of doing everything that it does through an extender, you're going to have two hand traps, which is why I think it's going to be a real hand trap heavy format. Anyway, I hope you learned a lot about this deck. Hope you learnt a few different lines. Like I said, the lines are quite simple once you get the general gist of the combo, but it's about playing through hand traps. And we've talked about how some of the hand traps are good. So Ash on the bike, Gorgo on the big Benki, Vela Imperm on the Scarecrow, and then just a nib whenever you can, basically. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Cheers, and subscribe, please. Cheers, bye.